Good afternoon, everyone. This is Meteorologist John Jurgens now tracking active severe thunderstorm warnings in place for much of northwestern Illinois. So right now we are providing continuing coverage of this thunderstorm activity as it rolls through on WREX.com. You can join us on the 13 News and Weather apps, as well as on our YouTube page and our Facebook page. If you are joining us live on Facebook, you can send in any questions that you have if you're sitting anywhere in the area and you just want to know what's the deal for your area. Send them in. Let us know, what you're seeing as well. If these thunderstorms are rolling through your area, let us know so that we can try to give as best of a warning as we can to those downstream from these warnings. So right now we have an active severe thunderstorm warning for Stevenson County as well as for Carroll and Whiteside counties. This is in effect until 3:30. This does include the Freeport and Sterling areas, so pretty populated areas here now under a severe thunderstorm warning. The main risk here is with 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts with an area of thunderstorms that moved through the Quad Cities. These brought 62-mile-per-hour wind gusts to the Davenport area, so these storms have been producing wind damage off to our south and west, and we're going to continue to watch this activity as it rolls through. Excuse me for just 1 second. I have my little workstation here that I'm going to be watching our chat sessions here with the National Weather Service just to get their latest thinking on these thunderstorms as they roll through. Just hearing from the National Weather Service in Chicago that they are not anticipating issuing a warning for Ogle or Lee counties as of this point. So you notice the severe thunderstorm warning polygons kind of going right around the Ogle and Lee counties. That's just because these are different National Weather Service jurisdictions. Stevenson, Carroll, and Whiteside counties are in the Davenport area, and while Winnebago, Ogle, and Lee counties are monitored by the National Weather Service office in Chicago. So there are two different offices looking at the same situation. So the National Weather Service in Chicago not going with a severe thunderstorm warning quite yet for Ogle and Lee counties, as we're just continuing to watch these thunderstorms as they develop. Right now, looks like the strongest of the thunderstorm activity is in southern Whiteside County. So let me pause the radar right here. And you can see this activity rolling up the I-88 corridor into the Sterling and Rock Falls area in the next few minutes. There we're getting a new radar scan, it looks like. So we'll come in and we'll zoom in on the Whiteside County area. And we should note how Stevenson County is under a severe thunderstorm warning, but you're not noticing too much in terms of thunderstorm activity. That's because there is a gust front. You can barely see that very thin green line there, and there may be a thunderstorm trying to develop along that front there, but there is a gust front that came in from previous thunderstorms that have since weakened. That is moving off to the north and east. That could be capable of up to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, which is why that warning is in effect there until 3:30. However, the most active severe weather threat, it does look like, is with the southern area of thunderstorms near the I-88 corridor moving into the Sterling and Rock Falls area. So that's going to be the area that we focus on for right now, as I continue to just check the chat session here with the National Weather Service every so often here. So this is really the bulk of what we're looking at right now. Pretty much thunderstorms on top of Prophetstown, moving just to the south of Morrison. This is US 30 here between Morrison and Rock Falls. And then this is I-88 here too that rolls into Sterling and Rock Falls as well. And there's Prophetstown. Tampa Coast that's right about here. And there's this area of thunderstorm activity that could be producing 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, moving right up into the Sterling and Rock Falls area. And then that's going to be something that we watch for moving into the Dixon area here in the not too distant future. And in fact, let me pull up a storm track here. And actually, I think I just saw an update to that severe thunderstorm warning. So let's go back to the big picture here. Okay. Stevenson County has been cleared from the severe thunderstorm warning. It looks like we're not necessarily seeing that gust front as strong as it was before. So we had questions about Durand and Lake Somerset. The severe thunderstorm warning for Stevenson County is off the board. So no longer severe thunderstorm, at least for right now, for Stevenson County. But we're especially watching areas of southern Carroll County and especially this part of Whiteside County moving into the Sterling and Rock Falls area as we head into the next few hours. So Eric is saying, hopefully this is bringing some beneficial rainfall. And it does look like that could be the case. However, we kind of wish for more widespread rainfall. This is going to be a little more scattered, but nonetheless, really want to be focusing on that severe weather threat. Hopefully we don't lose electricity. That is a threat here when we have these kinds of damaging winds, could have damage to tree limbs and power lines. So that's going to be the biggest thing that we look out for with these thunderstorms, especially those along the I-88 corridor right now. Moving towards the Sterling area, moving towards Sterling, and eventually towards Dixon. So we're going to be putting a storm track here. This is moving off to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour or so. So let me try to, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to scoot this up just a little bit, but nonetheless, this will just be approximate timing here. So Sterling here in about 5 minutes or so, 5 to 10 minutes. This is when the thunderstorm activity is going to be reaching you towards Dixon at about 3:15. And then outside of the warning, how we've been talking about Ogle and Lee counties not under a severe thunderstorm warning, but still want to give as much as advance notice as we can with these thunderstorms rolling through, because it is Father's Day. We all are, celebrating, our dads out there, but also, outside with the heat. It is definitely hot and humid outside, so we want to make sure that everybody, as many people as possible, are being aware that thunderstorms are approaching. So Dixon closer towards 3:15, Oregon towards 3:30, Ashland, Franklin Grove a little after 3:30, and then eventually towards the Route 72 corridor, Stillman Valley about 3:45, Monroe Center towards the top of the hour. Also watching for Rochelle around 3:45. That's when this activity may be rolling into your area. Whether it maintains severe strength or not, we just have to see. The indications are that this activity will strengthen the farther east it goes, just because it's getting into a very unstable environment. Just step outside and you'll feel the heat and humidity. So really just want to make sure that we're giving as much advance notice as we can here, because we have potentially strong to severe thunderstorms rolling through, especially the southern parts of the area, maybe where we see a little focus here near the I-88 corridor, and then maybe points just off to the north into Ogle County. So let's get a reset here in terms of the big picture here. So Stevenson County, Freeport area, no longer under a severe thunderstorm warning. That part of the warning was just canceled. And then now one thing that I am noticing here is along this gust front, notice how we're seeing more thunderstorms developing. So it's going to be just that we have to wait and see just how these thunderstorms can take advantage of the environment that there is ahead of this activity, because this is a very hot and humid environment. This is a ripe environment for these thunderstorms to really gain strength here. So we just have to see, how do these thunderstorms, how quickly can they gain strength, and then could they potentially produce those damaging wind gusts. So as we progress here towards the south, though, I just want to show how we have other severe thunderstorm warnings to the south of Lee County, near the Princeton area along Interstate 88. It looks like the bulk of the stronger thunderstorm activity is forming off to the south, which would be good news for us. That would mean it would slide maybe just to our south, but nonetheless have to watch these thunderstorms forming off to the north, and then also that thunderstorm activity rolling right into the Sterling area, as well as into the Dixon area. So continuing to watch for these thunderstorms rolling in. And also one thing I do want to note is that we have this amount of humidity in the air, and that is conducive for tremendous amounts of lightning with these thunderstorms. So when you hear thunder, you are close enough to be struck by lightning. Make sure to get inside, away from the windows, because with tremendous amounts of lightning, it could be a very dangerous situation here with these thunderstorms as they roll through. So really want to be taking these thunderstorms seriously as we talk about these, as we talk about this hot and humid environment. Let me pull up the temperature map right now and just see where we stand here in terms of our temperatures. 92 in Rockford, 89 in Sterling, 91 in Dixon. This is the environment out ahead of these thunderstorms. This is a hot and humid air mass. 92 in Rochelle and DeKalb right now, and that's just the air temperature. Let's check the dew points right now. And yeah, 60s, even 72-degree dew point in Dixon, 66 in Rochelle. This is the dew point temperatures, and it's extremely moist air mass across our area. So that is a lot of fuel for these thunderstorms to gain strength as they head farther on to the east. So this is why we're really watching this corridor and really across the whole area for additional thunderstorms to develop, because when we see these dew point temperatures, I mean 75 in Mount Carroll right now in terms of the dew point, that is pretty much oppressive air across the area right now. And then just for the sake of it, I want to see if we can pull up the heat index right now. Heat index of 100 in Sycamore, 96 in Rockford, heat index of 99 in Dixon. So even without the thunderstorms, you still want to take the heat seriously, because we're talking about these very high heat indices, especially this early in the season, is definitely a serious situation to really take seriously. But we also have the thunderstorms that we are continuing to track here. So here's the picture right now. Eastern Carroll, eastern Whiteside counties under a severe thunderstorm warning until 3:30. Watching for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, especially with the activity rolling into the Sterling and Dixon areas eventually. Let's see here. Looks like the Sterling Airport did just gust to 50 miles per hour. And that's with the gust front that's coming out ahead of these thunderstorms, even by about 10 to 15 minutes. So it could get really windy, even though the thunderstorms aren't going to be reaching you until about 10 to 15 minutes after. So we really want to be paying attention to this. And it looks like Carroll County just got dropped from the warning as well. So this is just an eastern Whiteside County deal here until 3:30 with those thunderstorms that we were talking about into the Sterling and Rock Falls area. So let me just get a quick check of the Quad Cities. Chat, haven't heard anything from them quite yet. But yeah, the latest report now is that we have a 50-mile-per-hour wind gust at the Sterling Airport. And in fact, we can probably pull up the storm reports. I don't think the Sterling report will come in quite yet. Let's see what this is. This looks like it's in the Prophetstown area. Just want to pull up that info. Maybe we can, or here, maybe we'll have to, there we go. That might be what I have to hit. There we go. 55-mile-per-hour wind gust in Prophetstown. Looks like we have a report in the Clinton, Iowa area of 50-mile-per-hour winds. So we're getting to 50, 55. Thankfully, not quite seeing 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's what we saw. There's a litany of reports across the Davenport area. And I'm sure, there we go. Yeah, the Quad Cities Airport, 62-mile-per-hour wind gusts there. So that's when the first severe thunderstorm warnings were triggered for this area of activity. Thankfully, haven't seen any reports, any damage here. We're just looking at wind gust reports, 60 miles per hour in Bettendorf. Then also looks like a hail report near Galva, pretty small hail, pea-sized hail. So not necessarily seeing as big hail a threat with this thunderstorm activity, at least initially. We're mainly talking about wind gusts for right now. So that's kind of the things that we're seeing right now. So there's the reports that we're getting about 50 to 55 mile per hour wind gusts in the Clinton, Iowa area, and also Prophetstown in Whiteside County. But we have not seen any reports of severe wind gusts, which severe is 60 miles per hour and greater. So to reset here, we had severe thunderstorm warnings for Stevenson and Carroll counties. Those have since been canceled. Still could have some gusty winds ahead of these developing thunderstorms, but for right now it looks like they are not severe. Looks like any kind of severe activity is focused along the I-88 corridor near the Sterling and Rock Falls area. And that's where we have that active severe thunderstorm warning that is in place until 3:30. So when you are under a severe thunderstorm warning, a warning is your call to take action. That means getting to the away from windows, getting inside, getting away from those windows, because we could have wind damage to windows, potentially your roof, and also the trees around your home. So that's why we want you inside, away from the windows. Tree limbs could also fall on power lines outside of your home. So be prepared for power outages as well as these thunderstorms roll through. And then as we continue to watch this activity rolling through, let's give you a heads up here on what we're talking about here in terms of areas that could see this activity rolling through. I do want to pull up the lightning here And then let's give a good storm track here in terms of where this activity will be rolling through. This is going to be moving off to the northeast here at about 45 miles per hour here. So let's see, there we go. Dixon area around 315, 320. Grand Detour in the Ogle-Lee County line here, closer towards 330. Amboy pretty much right on 330. Ashton Franklin Center close to 340. Compton closer to 345. Rochelle 345, 350 in terms of the time frame for Ogle and Lee counties. It does look like the bulk of the activity may be focusing to our south, which would be some good news. There is still ample instability off to the north here, and there are thunderstorms trying to develop. Let me clear off the data there. How we do see that activity starting to develop, so we just have to see how much this activity can really start to bubble up, because we have to see just where these thunderstorms could produce mainly severe wind gusts. That's going to be the main concern here. We're also looking out for potential for some hail to fall out of these thunderstorms as well. I'm trying to keep track of the chat sessions here with the National Weather Service. Again, I just want to emphasize, no warning for Ogle or Lee counties. I would think especially Lee County would be an area that we watch for as these active thunderstorms continue moving on to the east. However, we have not seen any kind of warning issued for the Dixon area or the I-88 corridor quite yet outside of Whiteside County. Again, eastern Whiteside, pretty much the Sterling Rock Falls area down to Tampico, under a severe thunderstorm warning until 3:30, with thunderstorms that have had a 50-mile-per-hour wind gust reported at the Sterling Airport. That's the latest report that we have from the National Weather Service. And then what we can do, actually, let's put on the velocity tool, because this will be where we can try to measure, at least try to measure the wind gusts within these thunderstorms. So let's pull up the quarry tool and let's see where we see those brighter colors. That's going to be where we get the best look here. So radar only estimating about 35-ish miles per hour in terms of the wind gusts for right now. So thankfully not seeing too much in terms of any kind of severe wind gust activity, at least being measured by radar. However, we just want to make sure that we're getting, observations down on the ground to see what the winds are actually doing at the ground level instead of higher up in the air. So that's why, storm spotters across the area are very important, because they're the ones that are watching these thunderstorms and are able to tell us exactly what is going on with them. Also just want to notice how much lightning there is. Now, this is outside of Whiteside County off to the south, but just notice with all that humidity in the air, that's going to cause a lot of lightning within these thunderstorms. And actually, this will be a count of all of the lightning that we've seen just in the last 10 to 15, I believe it's 15 minutes with these thunderstorms. 179 lightning strikes in just 15 minutes with this activity. And you can see all the little flashes here. Those are lightning bolts that are continuing to go on. So a really serious situation, even without severe thunderstorms activity in terms of wind gusts or hail. Just the lightning itself is a serious situation, especially when we're talking about the kind of levels of instability we have today. So you really want to be careful. If you hear thunder, that you are close enough to be struck by lightning. So that's why we say when thunder roars, head indoors, because lightning is definitely a serious situation, especially when we're talking about, at 3:10 on a Sunday afternoon when it's 90 degrees outside, it's Father's Day. We all just want to be outside, at the pool, just having a good time. But when these thunderstorms roll through, these can mean business, not even just the severe threat, but with the lightning threat as well. Okay, so the National Weather Service just watching the outflow boundary that we've been talking about, that gust front, slowing down a little bit now across western Ogle and into Lee County. So it's pretty much going to be stationed right about here, starting to slow down a little bit, which means the storms may catch up with the boundary. And then what that would do, actually, if those thunderstorms catch up with the boundary, is it can enhance those wind gusts at the surface. So we could be seeing some stronger wind gusts as these thunderstorms continue moving off to the east. So pretty much big picture, Ogle and Lee counties especially, watch out for this thunderstorm activity as it moves in, because these storms could be strengthening as we head into the next about 15 to 20 minutes or so. So that's going to be the thing that we really want to monitor here. And then also want to check in on these thunderstorms here into the Joe Davis and Stevenson County areas right now, because this is going to be activity that we watch for farther north. They've been struggling to really blossom into big thunderstorms capable of producing severe weather, but still some pretty heavy downpours here right outside of Pearl City, and then also another one here just outside of Polo. Now this is not severe at this point. However, we want to see just how these thunderstorms can start to blossom and potentially turn severe when we have this much instability in the atmosphere. So right now seeing a downpour near Polo, not really more than that at this point. And then really the bulk of the widespread, really heavy rainfall, and then thunderstorm activity rolling into Sterling pretty much right along the Whiteside and Lee County line right now. So we're talking about Dixon here in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so rolling through your area. It's all pretty much right on top of Sterling right now. So if anyone is in Sterling that's watching, can let us know what's going on so that we can give as good of a notice to those ahead of the thunderstorms as possible. That would be greatly appreciated, especially in terms of the wind gusts, and then also if there's any kind of tree damage or anything that you're noticing, that would be very helpful. We're hearing in western Illinois, so well to our south and west where these storms came through before. They're looking at downed power lines in that area. So this will be in, let's see, where is that? In Mercer County, Illinois. So well off to our south and west, but still, this is where these thunderstorms moved through earlier. So these have been producing wind damage here in the past. We had 60+ mile per hour wind gusts roll straight through the Quad Cities earlier on. And that's this thunderstorm activity in Sterling right now, about to move into Lee County. So pretty much the difference here is that Whiteside County, Sterling, Rock Falls, Tampico is in a severe thunderstorm warning until 3:30. Lee County is not. So there is no warning for Lee County as of right now, but the National Weather Service, of course, obviously is continuing to monitor that situation. The other thing I want to point out here, as we get more people jumping on and trying to catch up on what's the latest situation for the entire area, there is a severe thunderstorm watch until 8 o'clock. So all of our counties in southern Wisconsin, all of our counties in northern Illinois under a severe thunderstorm watch until 8 o'clock. And I think that's pretty good timing. Now it's going to end to the west, it's going to end earlier. So Joe Davis, Carroll, and Whiteside counties would be able to be cleared first. And then as these storms progress further on, I've been targeting the I-39 corridor by about 5 o'clock in terms of when these thunderstorms will reach the I-39 corridor. But at least as we've been watching exact track radar here in the last few minutes, we may be seeing a point where we're talking about the I-88 corridor as more of a localized threat for the main area of severe weather, whereas it'll be much more isolated farther north. So everyone should still be on guard when it comes to severe weather. However, I-88 may be turning out to be an enhanced area where we're going to be watching closely in terms of robust thunderstorms developing, and then very isolated thunderstorms that could develop farther on to the north. So that's why everybody is in a severe thunderstorm watch until 8 o'clock for the entire state line. So, and exact track radar right now showing pretty much the only thunderstorm activity across Whiteside County moving into Lee County. And you'll notice farther off to the south how there are more severe thunderstorm warnings getting popped up in the Princeton area, and then pretty much coming right up to the LaSalle County line. Notice how it's just south of Lee County. So we just have to see, maybe seeing a little bit of a Boeing nature with that activity right along I-88 too. So that'll be a little bit of a nightmare there in terms of traffic on I-88 on Father's Day. Could have some very strong wind gusts there moving off to the east, and then we'll just have to see, do we get any of that thunderstorm activity really across southern Lee County? And then also this activity near Sterling. Can we get any more strengthening in terms of those thunderstorms there? So National Weather Service saying still not quite seeing enough evidence to go ahead with a severe thunderstorm warning for Ogle and Lee counties. And honestly, to me, that looks like the right case because we're not seeing that level of strength in terms of these thunderstorms near the Sterling area as compared to what's going on off to the south. So that's why we have severe thunderstorm warnings off to our south along the I-88 corridor, and we're not quite seeing anything yet across Lee County into our southern area. In terms of our viewing area. And actually, that severe thunderstorm warning that we just saw pop up there is actually also for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, but also for golf ball-sized hail. So they're looking at potentially some very large hail with that activity too. We can turn on our hail tracker, and it may take a little while for it to load up here, but still, we'll just have to see. Hail we were saying is a little bit of a secondary risk, but oh goodness, there you go, right there. That's where you're seeing the bulk of the hail. Now this is well off to our south. This is even south of I-88 at this point, but still, once these thunderstorms really start to get going, we may be seeing hail developing as yet another threat with these thunderstorms. So right now, not quite seeing any kind of hail activity at all really across our area, but off to our south, that's going to be what we watch for in terms of as these storms really start to mature and really start to gain that strength, we could be seeing some hail with the thunderstorm activity as well. So moving on here, and let's zoom in, maybe seeing a little bit of intensification with that activity near Polo. This is kind of just what we have to do in situations like this. We just got to babysit the radar a little bit, just kind of watch these individual thunderstorms here every so often. Maybe seeing this area near Polo starting to strengthen just a little bit. We're seeing a little more lightning with this. Not quite seeing anything in terms of something that would produce any hail anytime soon. I would mainly be worried about potential kind of a downburst with this activity, especially as it begins to form. That could have a quick downburst, and that could cause some localized wind damage. So Polo, that's going to be the area that we watch for in the near term as we watch this activity as it continues to roll through. And then the good news is it looks like Whiteside County just got canceled from the severe thunderstorm warning. So more good news there. Yep, there you see. So it's just a sliver of Whiteside County, even south of Tampico here, until 3:45 under a severe thunderstorm warning. And now let's see. Yeah, that's for just the northern tail of this thunderstorm activity that we saw potentially producing 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And then there's that hail core that we were looking at near Sheffield. That's going to be moving off pretty close to Princeton here in the next few minutes. So if you know anybody in Princeton, give them a heads up. Let them know that, hey, we've got a pretty strong thunderstorm rolling through. Could have some large hail with it. Even want to pull up the velocity tool real quick just to see. Yeah, not quite seeing very bright colors along this line here, which is why the National Weather Service opted to cancel the severe thunderstorm warning for the Sterling area, which is some good news that we're not quite seeing that intensification right now. But that is certainly something that we'll have to watch out for here in the next few minutes. So really, I think the strongest of this activity is just off to the south of our area, just to, essentially Walnut and points off to the south. It looks like that's where the strongest activity may be. And then we'll kind of have to see, does Lee County just kind of get grazed here along the south with the ongoing strong activity? And then also watching to see, does this activity start to strengthen up a little bit, especially this near Polo. Also seeing a good shower here right on top of Pearl City at this point. So we're just going to have to kind of babysit the radar here over the next few hours or so as this rolls through. So what we're going to do right now, since we don't have any active warnings for really our entire area. It looks like maybe just going to be watching this area far, southern Lee County. So we'll jump off of streaming right now. Of course, I'll be continuing to monitor this here behind the scenes. And of course, if we get any new alerts for any part of our area or have additional details to pass along, of course, we will send them to you. But for right now, we'll just kind of jump off of streaming here for just a little bit. And then, we'll keep you updated with the latest developments as they pass along. But for now, no other severe thunderstorm warnings. A small sliver of Whiteside County near Tampico under a severe thunderstorm warning until 3:45. The main part of that activity going to be gliding just to the south of Lee County. But we're going to be watching additional thunderstorms developing, if they can, across our area. That's that risk for damaging winds and large hail. Slight risk for a tornado or two, although that threat has not really come to pass so far. So that's some good news. So let's cross our fingers. Hopefully we can stay away from that threat, but still mainly watching that damaging wind threat with this activity. Everything should be clearing out of our area by 6 or 7 o'clock. That severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 8 o'clock. And of course, if there are any updates with that watch, of course, we will pass it along to you both on air and online as necessary. But for now, we'll kind of just jump off streaming right now and stay tuned for further updates as we go along this afternoon and evening. Take care, everyone.